from Marissa Alders in the circle for Folsom Lake. Out of the Big Eight, Michaela Pamplona is behind the plate, catching at first base, Sydney Verlin. Second base is Adriana Vasquez. Emma Gayton in third base, and shortstop is Aracela Jaimes. That goes ball high. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. The first batter for Southwestern is Danny Sandez. Southwestern is 0-1. Their first game yesterday. That is way high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Folsom Lake is 1-1 after their victory. Then Mark Pavlovich got a chance to see in full versus Cerritos. So this, after Sandez will be Mariah Mata, Haley Osagura bats third for the Jaguars. Batting fourth is Cassidy Harper. There's strike 3 called on the outside part of the plate. So 1 up, 1 down for Alders.
Well, you got to realize in the first game, Folsom Lake was hot. I mean, that's the way to play it. They stuck it to Cerritos, and they are just continuing that feeling that they had going in the first game.
And in the outfield for the Falcons is Haley Reginato. In left field, center field, Elizabeth Wiley. And in right field, Claire Yanez. Head coach is Amber Grallman in her 3rd season. Outside, ball 1, Mariah Mata. Takes that on the outside part of the plate, Mata. Second base, 5'1" freshman from Steel Canyon High School. Actually, she's playing left field today. The pinstripes, red. There's a little dribbler back to Alders and sends it over to Verlin for the second out of the top of the first inning.
Slow down, baby. It's softball. There's nothing better than seeing a pitcher in the circle that can play defense, and that's what you just had there from Alders. And they have. Folsom Lake has changed up their defense a lot here in this game, Corey. So you're going to see Gatens, who's over at third, was behind the plate earlier in the game. So you're going to see a lot of different things going out. Wiley's still out, and Haley Reginato is still out in the outfield, but the outfield has changed a little too. So different lineup that we saw against Cerritos College.
At the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, top of the first. Thank you for that. I was still on basketball mode.
There you were. Yeah, you were ready to go. You had this game over already.
I'm just ready. I'm excited. Softball season. Might be my favorite season. High and outside, 2-1.
Error on me. Move it all over here because, if I got to go down searching, I'm going to lose everything.
Alders in the circle. Isabella Zavala got the first win. That hits the batter. So, Haley Osagura hit by pitch.
Now batting the catcher, number 14, Cassidy Harper.
So Cassidy Harper, who's catching today, freshman out of Santana, 5'8", bats right, throws right. Nancy Kelly Field is home to the Falcons, a couple times state champs. Outside for ball 1. So the black unis with the teal trim. Falcons softball program started in 2016. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Right down the heart, 1-1.
It's an interesting field because when you look at it as the afternoon grows on, left field becomes a tough sun field. Center field sort of. Right field not so much. Infield shortstop and third dealing with the sun on little pop flies. Another hit batter, Corey.
And it's an off-speed pitch. As Harper was striding into it, kept her elbows up. Looked like a rebounder in basketball. Kept those elbows out and hit her in the arm. So runners at first and second. It was Segura at second, Harper there at first. Brings up Jordan Beatty, the shortstop.
Now batting, the shortstop,
And then our third
number 8,
participants,
Jordan
well, I guess
Beatty.
they're all taking a nap, Orange Coast College, because they got here like a half an hour ago. Little conversation in the circle. And let's talk a little about this. I know it's an invitational, but I always call this preseason. I mean, you're trying to find out who your team is. You're going to go out there. You look at it, you just shook your head at me differently. I really do. I know Cody said last year she was going to try and find out what sort of team she had in this. So do you look at invitationals like that? Or
No, I look at invitationals as, you know, the invitational is the start of the season. It's not a preseason. I view preseason as scrimmages where you're getting up there and those don't count towards your record. But when you look at here, and this is an invitational against some of the best quality players in the state, then this is true. This is for real.
See, but I look at it as preseason because it's different playing against yourself compared to playing against an opponent. I know what everybody wants to hit on my team. I don't know what you want to hit when I'm playing you for the first time.
Yeah, you do. I want it right down the middle.
Well,
Fastball, take something off it so I can groove it.
You want that free base hit.
Yes, I want a lob. Can't catch up. There's Beatty. 0-1. Alders gets ahead of this batter. First time in 3 batters. And Beatty Mark's a math major. You like that. Doesn't catch the knees. 1-1. There's 2 outs here in the top of the first inning.
I like watching Gayton over at third base, Corey. She takes an interesting position as a third base person. She comes in, but we'll see if she changes it again. She wasn't square to the infield. She takes an angle. She's doing it again there. So she takes an angle either where she drops her left hip back or she drops her right hip back so that she's got an angle as an infielder. Meaning that if she goes down to block the ball should ricochet back towards the dugout. Therefore, you have a better chance of holding a runner at second base.
Popped up to the aforementioned Gayton, and she brings it in for the 3rd out of the inning.
No runs,
So there's no runs, no hits.
Going to the bottom of the first.
No errors, as you heard. No runs, no hits, no errors. And there were 2 left on base. So at the end of half an inning, it's 0-0 as Folsom Lake, who were 7-2 winners over Cerritos in the first game today, comes up to bat with Araceli Jaimes, Adriana Vasquez, and Sydney Verlin. First 3.
Defensive lineup for Southwestern. In left field, number 15, Mariah Mata.
So if you look at the defense of Southwestern, it'll be Mata, Sandez, Allen from left to right in the outfield. Hurtado at third, Beatty at short, Garcia at first, Harper behind the plate, and Madison Mendez will be over there in the circle seeing what she can do.
is Katrina Simmons.
for Southwestern.
So it'll be interesting. We talked to Coach Michael Gross for Southwestern earlier, and he says he's got a young team, a lot of turnover, and he's looking for that. And you know, it's interesting, Mark. He's looking at this more as a preseason as well, because you know he doesn't really know what he has, and it seems like he's playing a top 10 schedule, like for the first 10, 12 games.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, Corey. I mean, you look at are you a power team? Are you a run team? And again, I'm going to say practices don't really give you that opportunity to figure things out in that direction as a coach. I mean, does your starting pitcher try to get everybody out on a team? Nah, I think they throw fat ones to some of their friends and say, yeah, go ahead, hit it, Corey. You know, so
Number 4, Araceli Jaimes.
So as you see Southwestern in their maroon stripes, white unis, gold trim around the letters. Jaimes, right-hander, bats right, throws right, outside for ball 1.
So Cerritos blanked Folsom Lake in the first inning. It was 3 up, 3 down, that quick. And it sort of felt like Cerritos was in control of the game because they scored in the bottom of the first. Now we'll see what happens with Folsom Lake here in the second game.
And that's dribbled foul down the left field line, third base line. Be 2 balls and 1 strike.
And again, I didn't get to ask Cody, but I will during the season. I think this is a softball field that the ball flies well in this field.
And this one is flown out to right field. Under it is Angie Allen for the first out. Bringing up Adriana Vasquez.
And of course, Cerritos, when they started the game, Corey, they're looking to see they had their top pitcher, but they only threw her at the end. They want to find new pitchers. That's how they presented themselves in this first game. We'll see how Southwestern presents themselves in this second game.
Last season, Southwestern was 7-30. And again, one of those teams that high and outside to Vasquez, still struggling with the COVID situation. After that missed year that everybody missed, took him more time to regroup. Vasquez stands in.
But they're from the San Diego region, and there's a lot of talent in that region.
Vasquez 5'1" out of Sheldon High School in Elk Grove. Take that at the knees, a little drop pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. And a little bit later, after this pitch, we'll get into it. 2-1, 3-1. We'll talk about it when Ed gets back on the air. I missed the conversation about stadiums and softball stadiums and softball fields at the community college level. Did you bring up Folsom Lakes?
Ed brought them all up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is strike number 2 at the letters. So it's a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out.
Cody had problems with the strike zone. I had problems with the strike zone here. It expanded during the softball game.
And this one's pulled down the third base line. Hurtado up and over to Garcia for the second out.
You watch Hurtado at third, backs up a couple steps, and that's not a habit you want to get into unless you're adjusting for that strange hop.
I think she was.
Okay.
I think her angle, she was guarding the line, and her stance is a little bit more pronounced than Gayton's at third base. You'll see her a full foot back, right foot back, and guarding that line. Ball is high and outside, so when she has to take that step with the left on that first step, she has to come back. Right-hander Verlin. High, 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs.
The thing that's interesting for me in softball is that the women's game's changed in this vein. Shortstops play much deeper than they used to in the old days.
This one's high and popped up.
I got it.
And that is going to be out of play.
Oh, I was ready. But, Corey, when you look at the infield, the shortstops, because they are much more physical now in the game of softball, I think they've worked on the infield tools, so that's why. They do play a very deep shortstop now
and that's
in
because
softball.
The game has changed. There's no more predominantly slap hitting, ground ball hitting players as it's changed. I'm not going to say it's evolved. I'm going to say it's just changed. You have those long striding hitters, off speed, waited on it. Good job to stay alive is Verlin. They have more punch, and that's why you see those shortstops playing deeper.
But they still have to have the arms to make the throw.
Oh, yeah. They've always had arms.
Okay. I mean, some people may say to us, oh, that means they throw better nowadays. No, you grew up in softball, so, let's be realistic about that.
Fastball outside. No, they saw a strike on the outside part, so 3-2, 2 outs, bottom of the first inning, no score. Folsom Lake at bat. Southwestern, the Jaguars in the circle. Lost their opening game 10-2 to El Camino. This one's popped up right field. Angie Allen, no, actually Haley Osagura strides back from second and makes the catch. So 3 up, 3 down. At the end of one, there's no score. This is the SportsNetUSA.net. Softball Invitational. Invitational.
Well, slower is faster.
On SportsNetUSA.net.
It's interesting. You went over to talk to the team, and Ed was teasing because the head coach has now moved on. He said, oh, Corey's over there to look for an old friend, and she's gone. But you knew her for many years. Not just a couple years, but you knew her for many years. I mean, what does Southwestern lose in losing her as a coach?
Well, they lose that player, that coach that played at the highest level. You lose that player that, practically an Olympian, but one of the best players you've ever seen out of Cal State Fullerton. Move that along to the coaching level, and her smarts, her knowledge of the game, and that's what you miss most, that knowledge and skill from the bench. From the bench, that's what you're going to miss most. And what you gain here with Michael Gross is you gain somebody who has experience at every level, high school, club ball, and the international level as well. So that confidence is going to be there, and he just has to build his program his way.
Do you think she'll do well at D1 level?
Wherever she goes, she'll do well.
Okay.
Leading off the top of the second for Southwestern.
So still in the circle is going to be Marissa Alders for the Falcons. And this might be their best player, Elisa Garcia, for the Jaguars. And she takes that low and inside. 1-0.
When you watch her in the box, too, we talked about the hitter at Cerritos that hit the home run today, that they crank up, they go back on their right hip, Corey, and then get ready to stride into it, almost like a golfer that's hitting a golf ball.
That is low, below the knees. 2 balls, no strikes.
So you watch her in the box now. She will, as a taller young woman, in a little crouch position, will go back, but she will load up on her right hip, getting ready to drive forward the same way golfers do, no matter what the gender is, to get the ball to have more acceleration.
Needed that strike as Alders, and she gets it at 2-1. And you speak of that, Garcia hit 2 home runs last year, have 13 RBI. She was 1 for 3 yesterday.
Here's a good question for Med Ford. He wants to know, does any softball coach own long pants?
Why would you?
Ed brought up the fact everybody wears shorts. Once again.
That's the standard uniform in softball. If you're a softball coach, you have to wear shorts. I don't understand softball coaches who wear pants. And you know me, I don't understand baseball managers why you got to wear the uniform either. So, strike 3 on an off-speed pitch from Alders. Her second strikeout.
That can be the prettiest pitch in softball if you know how to throw it.
And she knows how to throw it. So how do you throw it?
Well, an off-speed pitch has got to have the same arm speed. You can't give it away, so you put the ball a little deeper into your palm. When you release it, the ball comes out late and velocity's taken off of it. And that's where the off-speed comes from.
Bella Hurtado takes that in for a strike. Bella is the third base person for Southwestern. In the 7th spot, right-handed hitter down the line. Gayton to her knees, up firing over to Verlin for the second out.
So when Gayton goes down, the problem is if you're at third base, you've got to be somebody who's very good on your feet. You've got to be that dancer over there at third base. You can't just rely on your left because you've got to be able to move from left to right quickly because you've already taken the distance out of your game playing defense by being 4 feet in front of the bag.
Mendez thought about it, takes it. 0-1. Mendez, 5'10", out of Santana High School. All local products for the Jaguars. Just low, 1-1. So this invitational, the second invitational at Cerritos College Nancy Kelly Field. This one's popped way up and out of play to the right side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And it's interesting, Mark, when you're doing the research, you notice Southwestern, one of their alumni, one of the best softball players here in 1991, won the Cerritos tournament after winning 3 straight games. So that was Nicole Meyer-Sandez. This was up the middle, diving play by Vasquez, up on her feet, can't get it. So an infield hit for Madison Mendez. Because I mentioned that because Danny Sandez, a leadoff batter for Southwestern, and that's the one thing I forgot to ask the coach. Did her mom play for Southwestern back in the day?
So we get a pinch runner.
Pinch runner with 2 outs. And this will bring up Devin Christick, the designated player. Christick is a 5'8" freshman. And the pinch runner is going to be Sammy Sandoval. So Sandoval at first, Christick will be batting. As we said, out of Christian High School in El Cajon. There's a timeout. time taken to get situated.
Well, the umpire's over with the official scorekeeper, making sure they've got all the right substitutions.
So Southwestern's out of the Pacific Coast Athletic Conference.
For Southwestern, number 5, Sammy Sandoval.
And you talk about that experience that Mosadegi leaves with. You bring in a gentleman called Mr. Gross. Coach Gross has 2 CIF titles at that level. This one's popped up on the infield. Vasquez can't get it, and running it out is going to be Christic. So runners at first and second with 2 outs in the top of the second inning.
And on a little one like that, nobody reacted quickly to the little pop fly. They allowed the ball to hit. You need to react a little quickly, even if you go down and kiss the dirt trying to catch it, because on a spinner like that, you know that once it hits the dirt, it could go any place you want it to go. It becomes magic in the dirt, as an infielder could kick right, left, or between your legs.
So second hit in this inning. Second hit overall here at the top of the second. And that brings up Sandez, who swings through one, 0-1 with 2 outs. Sandoval at second, Christic at first for the Jaguars. Gayton in at the bag at third. Verlin in at the bag at first. Another lunge and another foul back.
And here's always the interesting thing for me if you're a coach. You have your third base person 3 to 4 feet in front of the bag. Your shortstop is not tracking the runner at second. This is where you look at the runner at second and say, let's see if they can play defense at third. Make them go backwards, catch the ball, and tag you at the same time.
Up in the box is Sandez. Low and outside, 1-2.
Corey Neyland keeping an eye on his designated runner behind him, Gabby Neyland.
And Sandez pops it up out of play. All I got to say is at least the game is good here. Second game of the triple header. The SportsNetUSA.net Invitational. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
It's happy the clouds have gone away.
And I said international earlier, Mark. You know what? That'll be the goal for this invitational. Get international. Alders delivers. Strike 3. Swinging. So no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. So at the end of 1.5, it's still scoreless.
And I don't know, Mr. Neyland, if you saw the rankings, but Ed Ford poo-pooed him. Ed, if you got your headsets on, can you put them on for a second so we can, because I was going to let you know, Ed, I was letting Corey know that you looked at the rankings and basically you scoffed at them when we talked about the rankings. I know Corey will always look at the rankings and see where they're at. So I got to see if I got the guys on the left and right of me in agreement that the rankings are a joke right now.
Well, I'm not going to say they're a joke. That's kind of harsh.
I would just say, as I said before, all they did was take how everybody finished last year in the state tournament. And all those teams were the ones that got ranked first, except for Sierra didn't get the number 2, even though they were the number 2 team. They were the runner-up. But that's all they did, and to me that's
a joke.
It doesn't mean much because teams have changed. You got different players that have come in, different players that have gone out. I mean, look at Bella. Bella pitches for Cypress last year, and now she's at Folsom Lake. That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is, and it's an upgrade to an already upgrading team.
Right, and then you have a situation like, and I'm not saying they should be in the top 20, I'm just saying that things change. Barstow last year made it to the playoffs for the first time in who knows how long.
And that's what they don't take into
Right.
consideration.
But their head coach isn't there anymore. He left after the end of the season. So he's at Victor Valley College.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean Barstow's going to be as good as they were last year.
No.
Maybe Victor Valley College is going to be that surprise upbuilding team.
yeah, and that ball is taken outside. And Mark knows that I had a problem with the rankings as well, because I just don't think they took the time to, I don't know, really evaluate every team other than San Mateo won the title, they get first. Mount Sac is Mount Sac, they get second. Cypress is Cypress, they get third, as that is high and inside. And you can't really get a true, if you want to rank teams, a true definition of a preseason poll. But you know how we feel about the preseason anyway. Those polls anyway. That ball is outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. They're not really useful. Reginato at the plate. Grounds to Hurtado, yeah, that's Hurtado at third. And that's going to be E5 as it bounced in her chest. So E5 advancing is Haley Reginato to first base.
Now batting third baseman number 5, Emma Gayton.
And Hurtado did exactly what Mr. Pavlovich said that might happen, is if you take that step back on a ground ball, it might eat you up, and it did. So at the plate is Emma Gayton. Hot shot to Coach Robinson. Standing at third base. I want to thank Darren Robinson, one of the assistant coaches for the Falcons, coming over and talking to us. Amber Grauman in her 3rd season, as we discussed. She was at Santa Ana for a few years.
Helped them make the playoffs when she was there. Been involved in community college sports for 40.
Bottom of the 2nd inning, no score. Off-speed pitch, waited on by Gayton, fouls it back. 0-2 with no outs. The runner at first base is Haley Reginato, the left fielder. Gayton, 5'6", out of East Nicholas High School. This one's popped up, chasing fair ball. Reginato had to hold it first to ensure it wasn't caught. And she advances on a base hit.
And what you like, even though it becomes a hit. Corey, there's the difference. You saw a second base person for Southwestern realize that, hey, if that ball hits the ground, the runner's going to be safe. I have to lay out and do or die on the plate. That's what she does. She doesn't catch it. But properly, she understood the situation. It's a layout or a base hit.
Swing and a miss to Clarianes, the right fielder. Yesterday, Folsom Lake lost to Canyons 1-0. Canyons scored in the very first inning and didn't score anything. Both teams had 4 hits yesterday. Little check swing foul. 0-2. No outs in the bottom of the 2nd. Folsom Lake threatening. Reginato went 2 for 3 in that game. Gayton went 1 for 2. And Mark said earlier in that first game against Doritos, they could hit. Low, 1-2.
Yeah, and this is what they did against Cerritos. 1, 2, 3 in the first inning. Then after that, it was runs, 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 runs. So are they slow starting? No, because once they get going in the 2nd.
And there's a base hit into left field. That's going to score 1. Reginato coming around 3rd, and she's in easily. And an RBI single by Clarianes. And there is a throwback to the pitcher and heads up base running by Gayton. He advances to third base off the RBI single by Claire Yanez.
And realize even though that is an RBI, it should be an unearned run because the runner got on in an error.
Yeah, but you like to you're a stickler for scorekeeping. So if you want the stickler rules, the official rules, you go with Mark. If you want my rules, that's an RBI single.
Like I already told everybody in the first game, the Candy Man will be showing up to call game number 2.
That's why my nickname is Kit Kat.
That's it.
And the left-handing Savala. And there's a wild pitch behind, and there's Gayton for the score. Down to third base. Hurtado makes the tag on the left hand for the first out, as Yanez tried to stretch, feeling good, but got thrown out.
And that was something that she chose to do on her own because you saw the third base coach telling her no, no, no when she started to continue to come. And again, these are the learning experiences that you get to take into conference.
So in the circle, striding Savala, ground ball to the right side. Grice dive by Osaguera, but not in time as Savala outruns it. So she legs out another infield single. So now with one out and a runner on, this will bring up Michaela Pamplona.
Number 10, Michaela Pamplona.
Osaguera's got a nice little range at second base. The one thing that most second base people don't have is this shotgun arm from down on your knees or your belly that you get up quickly and you can get that runner over at first base. Most. That's why you're over at second base.
That's why I played second as I got older. And there's a pinch runner in for Savala. And we'll see. It says Adriana Vasquez wears number 33. But Adriana Vasquez is number 2.
Number 33, Adriana Vasquez.
So now I'm really confused.
Maybe there's 2 of them on the team.
I think so. We're going to have to ask in just a moment.
I mean, there's Adriana Vasquez, and then there's Adriana Vasquez.
High. Taken by Pamplona, the catcher, last season. She batted .307, .358 on base percentage, and .407 slugging. Takes the second pitch high as well. 2 balls, no strikes. Bottom of the second inning. Falcons have pushed 2 runs across. Mata in left, Sandez in center. In right is Allen. This one's to Mata in left field. She makes the one-handed catch into the sun for the second out.
And Corey, if you watch her out there, she just tapped her chest, which is funny because she's looking directly into the sun when that ball is elevated. If you're not somebody used to doing that, it really is a shocking experience when you look up and you think, wait a minute, where'd the ball go?
Yeah.
Because the sun blinds you.
Wiley steps in, check swing foul. Elizabeth 227, 261, and 250 last year. 7 RBI off of 10 hits. Had a double and scored 11 times. Vasquez at first base. Squares the punt, pops it foul with 2 outs. No balls and 2 strikes.
course, people will ask, how do you play sun fields? Well, you've got that big old glove out there. That's a great umbrella to block out the sun. If you know how to do that, or you're a peeker, you see where the ball's taking off at, and you can judge without looking again where the ball should land. That's what a peeker will do.
Hurtado even at the bag at third. The delivery off speed, groove pitch looked on for the first strikeout for Madison Mendez.
3 hits, 1 error, and 1 left on base. After 2 full innings, the Falcons lead 2-0.
So 2-3, and 1 error and 1 left on base. So at the end of 2 full complete, it is Folsom Lake 2 and Southwestern nothing. SportsNetUSA.net Invitational on SportsNetUSA.net.
Yeah, and this is what Folsom Lake did to Cerritos College. They went 1, 2, 3 in the first, and then all of a sudden they found offense. And in finding offense, they continued to find offense, and that's how they beat Cerritos College here at Nancy Kelly Field, the home of the Falcons. Not the Folsom Lake Falcons, but the Cerritos College Falcons.
Yeah, Folsom Lake has a nice athletic complex as well. 300 seat at the softball field and lights is what I saw on their site.
Well, there's lights over at Fullerton College. You turn on the headlights and you can, pull on the soccer field, shine them over the top, flashlights.
That's only when the person with the nice car is there, so their battery won't run out when you play. If that person's not there, you can't play.
Well, no, you got to make sure the neighbors aren't home either, because if you turn on lights, you might bother them.
Well, if you're turning on your headlights, you're not worried about the neighbors.
Oh, okay.
All right. For Southwestern, the left fielder number 15, Mariah Mata.
So Mariah Mata steps up to the plate. She bats second here in the top of the 3rd inning. Need a couple runs. She swings and misses, pulled that head out. Grounded back to Alders in the 1st inning. Alders in the circle. We'll reset that defense in just a moment. Mata popped it straight back. No balls and 2 strikes. Reginato, Wiley, and Yanez from left to right in the outfield. Left to right on the infield, Gayton, Jaimes, Vasquez, and Verlin. Behind the plate is Pamplona and Marissa Alders in the circle. Zavala got the win today, and the loss yesterday against Canyons. Kept that elbow in, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So you watch Verlin and Gayton crowd the corners defensively. So that makes hitters look for places to place the ball, which allows the pitcher to have even a more diverse strike zone.
And that is high and out inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. To Mata, 5'1" freshman. Cloud cover here now in the 3rd inning. Ground ball, Gayton scoops it up. Over to Verlin, strong arm. 5-3 if you're scoring at home. For out number 1, this will bring up Haley Osagura.
You watch Gayton when she fields the ball, she takes a little hop on her throw. It's not catch and stride, it's catch and hop and stride. Like I said, she didn't play 3rd base the first game today. So again, this is where I look at this as preseason. Hey, are you multifaceted? Can I put you at 3rd?
High in the left field, Reginato calls everyone off and makes the catch. Cassie Harper hit by a pitch her first time up at bat.
Now batting the catcher, number 14, Cassidy Harper.
And Corey, I find it so interesting to watch infielders now with the wristbands on.
Ground ball, little scooper to Vasquez. Sidearms to Verlin. So 1 up, 2 up, 3 up. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. So 2.5 gone by. And it is Folsom Lake 2, Southwestern nothing. Coming up to bat for Folsom Lake, the top of the order in the bottom of the third, Jaimes, Vasquez, and Verlin. So Corey Neyland, Mark Pavlovich here. Nancy Kelly Field, Albert Robles, Ed Ford here. And Ed, you want to continue about the rankings? About, you know, we see why San Mateo's ranked number 1. We can all agree on that. Mount Sac, I think Mount Sac is always good, but based on what they lost and what they're coming back this year, number 2, they're Mount Sac. Cypress was telling Mark would rank them 1 in the South and then 2 in the state. I'd have Cerritos in the top 5, in my opinion, based on what came back and what they did last year.
Sounds good. I don't know. It's just, I think you, as Mark and I were talking about, you have to look at what some of the teams have done in respect to what players they've gained, what players they have lost. I mean, I know that you're not going to know every freshman coming into the team, but I think on some of the situations, you know, if somebody's lost a bunch of starters, then come on, they're not going to be as good.
Yeah, and you don't know what type of pitching you're going to come back with, especially with Mount Sac as they lose Grace Bison. She's at Riverside. And there's a pitch on the outside part of the plate taken by Jaimes. 1 ball, no strikes. Into shallow center field. Under it is Sandez and makes the catch. So Jaimes flew out to right, now flies out to center. Adriana Vasquez, who grounded to third her first time at bat.
Now batting second baseman, number 2, Adriana Vasquez.
See, they got to have 2. I'm going to
They
say
gotta
they
have
got 2. Vasquez takes it outside.
So see, that'd be a great double play combination. Vasquez to Vasquez to Vasquez.
Utility is her position. Shallow center again, and this time Sandez can't come up with it.
And that's as an outfielder's decision. You've got to be an outfielder that says, I can either get to that ball, lay out, catch it, or if I do and I miss it, it's going all the way to the wall. Because, hey, I got nobody backing me up on this. So I'm going to stop short, let it bounce, and give up the single.
And a good play as she did let it bounce. Sydney Verlin. Now, she's facing Mendez. Mendez stands tall in the circle. Great pitch by Mendez.
You know, there might be that rule that you don't try to bunt anything that's off the top of your tennis shoe.
Now, if she had have made contact with that, is
I would have said she was lucky.
No, I was going to say because it bounced in the dirt first. What happened?
It's up to the umpire if he calls it a dead ball or not.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out in the bottom of the third. 2 runs across last inning for Folsom Lake. Mata, Sandez, and Allen left to right in the outfield. Garcia, Oseguera, Beatty, and Hurtado right to left on the infield. Shows again an outside. So 2 balls, 1 strike.
And here's the thing. Why are you bunting? If you're bunting to sacrifice yourself, give yourself up. If you're bunting to get a base hit, you need to work on that technique on practice every day to get the right body position, the right bat position, so you know exactly what you're doing when you bunt a ball.
Swing through, 2-2, and I think it was both, actually. I think she was bunting to move the runner across, but also the type of bunt, and as she faced, if I get a base hit, okay. Because it was going down the first base line. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. Bottom 3. Off speed, didn't wait enough. Kind of a knee buckler. Vernon goes down swinging for the 2nd out. Vasquez remains at first. And Haley Reginato,
Left fielder, number 9, Haley
who
Reginato.
reached on an error last inning and scored a run. Not earned, but unearned. See, I'm trying to be nice to you today.
Hey, you finally understand the rules of softball. It's nice. Calling softball for 20 years with me, and you're finally, it's nice to know you can still learn at your age.
No. You know the rules. You're just more accepting and giving gifts. So RBI and a run scored. Reginato takes that high and outside.
And it's funny when Corey and I or anybody else is on sportsnetusa.net and we say that's an error, that's a hit, and everybody goes, oh, geez, what's the big deal? If you're in the circle, it's a big deal. If you're at the plate, it's a big deal.
Recruiting-wise, it's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And that just missed the corner, so 3-0. Reginato had 1 home run last season, 19 RBIs. Go along with 31 hits. And that's high, so runners at first and second. Vasquez advances to second. She singled for the 4th hit of the game. Emma Gayton, who singled and scored a run. Now her run was earned.
Number 5, Emma Gayton.
And again, you go back to that scoring. So if you're any type of recruiter trying to listen to our scores, never listen to me.
Yeah, you're the type of scorekeeper all the players would love.
Everybody gets a hit. Popped way up out of play to the right side.
If I was the pitching coach, I wouldn't let you in the booth. My poor pitchers would have ERAs of 6.
That's good if I'm scorekeeping.
Well, you think that's a good ERA anyway, so.
As long as you win. Off speed, waited on it in center field, making the catch for the 3rd out is going to be Danny Sandez. So no runs, 1 hit, 2 left on. At the end of 3, it is still 2-0 Folsom Lake
Runs on 1 hit.
over Southwestern, the SportsNetUSA.net Softball Invitational on SportsNetUSA.net. So coming up, Jordan Beatty, Lisa Garcia, and Bella Hurtado.
Coming up, game number 3. They got here early, sitting there in their blue with white and orange piping, their orange stockings, Orange Coast College here at game number 3. I think that's their manager who's outside of the stadium, standing up on, looking over the outfield wall, staring at it saying, we got here when?
Got to get here early. Yeah. They're on Ryan Osborne time.
Ryan Osborne wouldn't even be getting dressed yet.
For a game, Mark, for a game.
Oh, okay.
Not anywhere else.
He'd be sending a note saying, I'm running late.
Not anywhere else. If it were my time, well, when's the game start? So Beatty popped to 3rd her first time up in the 1st inning. Garcia batting 2nd, struck out. Hurtado rounded to 3rd, so Southwestern looking to get something going. here in the top of the 4th inning. Last season, 3 runs a game.
Leading off the top of the
As a
fourth inning
team,
for
they batted
Southwestern,
.257
the shortstop,
with a
number
303
8,
on
Jordan
base
Stacy.
percentage, 341 slugging, hit 9 home runs as a team. And they were here last year for the SportsNetUSA.net Invitational as well, the inaugural one.
Yes, they were.
Alder is still in the circle, delivers high.
So you watch Beatty, who is up in front of the box. People can see where people place themselves. If you're up in front of the box, one of the things that you're trying to do is take away a breaking ball, because that may be your weakness. The thing that you'll discover, though, is that you put more heat on yourself for the fastball.
That's right down the middle for a fastball.
And you were deceived more.
2 balls, no strikes. I guess it was on the outside corner. No, they got it right. 1-1.
Okay. You're deceived more on that changeup.
And I think that's to the advantage of slap hitters myself, and there's a long stride on a fastball when you're up in the plate, because you're normally going to go the opposite way anyway. If you're up in the plate, especially if you see well, you slap that to the right side for a base hit, and you're already motoring for a possible 2, depending on how fast you are. 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1 to Beatty.
Now realize, Corey, being up so far, though, she takes a little step back, but she can't take a big stride. So she's got to be an arm hitter, right? No? Yes?
You hope not. You hope she's a leverage hitter with moving those hips and getting that
Okay.
swing through.
She was a watcher.
3. Third strikeout, make it the 4th strikeout for Alders in the circle. Bringing up Elisa Garcia.
Elisa Garcia.
So Garcia batted .300 last year. As we said, 2 home runs. Fastball, base hit to left field. Rounding first is Garcia. Overthrowing second is Reginato, and that's going to send Garcia to second base, and she's holding at second on the overthrow.
So on that play, you give a hit and an error because the runner advances.
So what you're saying, Mark, if there's a single here by Bella Hurtado and it scores a run, that's unearned if it's a single.
If it's a single, yes.
And then if it's a double, let's say, would that be up to the discretion of the scorekeeper? Oh,
Yes.
I didn't move far enough away from the table.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, it would be. It would be.
Hurtado grounded to third and pops straight up in the infield. Underneath, Vasquez makes the second out.
Now if she were to score and the next person were to get an out, it would be an unearned run.
Mendez in the circle today, holding her own, give up those 2 runs, singled her first time at the plate in the second. We sit in the top of the 4th. High for ball 1.
And those are strictly just things for statisticians. Managers don't care. Coaches don't care. Hey, we tied the game. Yeah. I don't care how we scored.
And there's one deep to left field, and that is going to bring in the run from second. Reginato hurt herself as she's went into the fence. And let's hope the young lady is okay on a double, grabbing the small part of her back as she hit it awkwardly. So Mendez, for the cliche,
They should be over where the truck is, the little trucky thing is, by the side of the far dugout.
as Reginato gets up under her own power. Still scratching and holding the back. And she's gonna stay in the ball game. The toughness of these athletes, as Mendez laid into that to left center field. Be her first hit of the season.
So Corey, now that you count as an RBI because it was a double, so therefore it's at the discretion of the scorekeeper, and you call it an RBI. So
2-1, top of the fourth inning. That's the fourth hit by Southwestern. Christek, who singled in the second, now up with the runner on second with 2 outs. That runner is Mendez. Takes it for a strike.
Now batting number 10, Devin Chrisley.
And it's interesting. El Camino beat Southwestern yesterday 10-2. Southwestern put up 7 hits, but 2 big errors. Foul tipped back, 0-2.
I always look when I hear that sound. It's like, is this coming by me or what?
Christek sees that outside, 1-2. 2 outs, top of 4. Jaguars scratch on an RBI double from Mendez. And as a pitcher, you gotta like that. You bring in a run for yourself, get back into the circle, feel a little bit more confident. All this delivers. Again, foul tipped, Christek.
Well, here's a team, the Jags, that are lost their head coach, have a new coach, who is experienced in everything else. Corey, it's that thing that you've got to get the mo going now. You've got to get the momentum early in softball.
And there's momentum up the middle, and Mendez is going to hold at third, laboring as she gets to third base. Single by Christek, top of the order. Now Danny Sandez. So top of the order in the top of the fourth. Sandez has struck out twice as Coach Grallman heads to the circle talking to Marissa Alders.
And they've already have their backup pitcher warmed up, ready to go. And Corey, you talked about the runner at third base and looked like she was just barely getting there. And Mendez, she's trying to stretch out the back of her legs too.
And we do have a pitching change as Angelina Becerra, sophomore out of Lincoln High School, pitcher and outfielder. So behind her on the defensive side, no changes. Pamplona still behind the plate. Verlin and Vasquez on the right side. On the left side of the infield is Gayton and Jaimes. Reginato still in left. Wiley and Yanez in center and right field respectively.
Yeah, keep your eye on softball this year on all levels. On D1 level, it's going to be interesting. They're thinking that Oklahoma State is going to win it again, 3 in a row. Oklahoma, I mean, that's what they're saying, 3 in a row. And they loaded themselves up in the portal, the transfer portal. They got 3 number 1 players from different teams, 2 from the Pac-10. And when I was talking with Ryan Osborne yesterday saying who they got, he just stared at me. He said, my God, they've got, what, 5 of the best players in the nation? I said, yeah, right now, 5 of the best players in the nation on their team. UCLA, preseason, ranked number 2.
It's going to be interesting. Becerra rifles one in there. Bringing the heat. Sandez couldn't catch up. So the center fielder, can I get a cliche in there? Ducks on the pond right now for Sandez. Is that one low? Good save by Pamplona. A loose feel early on in this season. No tenseness from anybody. Coaches feeling good, players feeling good.
We're feeling good.
Oh yeah. Springtime, softball, and allergies. That's what it reminds me of. Sandez, high. 2 balls and 1 strike. So Sandez looking good with 2 outs. Top of the 4th, looking to bring in Mendez to tie up this ball game at 2.
Don't help the pitcher. Make them get you out. So you're going to swing at only something you really know you can hit.
Kara Wines delivers. You can hit a knuckleball. You ever seen one? That was one there.
I love listening to a third base person that doesn't have a ball come right back to him on a foul ball and goes down the line. They go, oh, I've got to run because my left fielder's not going to help me out. My shortstop's just going to stare at me.
Runner at first is Christic. Mendez at third. Sandez at the plate. 2-2-2 on the scoreboard. 4th inning off speed. Outside.
There's nothing like a batter saying, that was a strike. Albert's looking at it too. Albert, she takes the pitch and starts heading for the dugout. And the umpire just stands there. ... Exactly. That was great.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 4th. 1 already across for the Jags. Becerra delivers. Popped up straightaway center field. Under it is Wiley, calls everyone off for the 3rd out. But not before 1 run is across on 3 hits. 2 left on base. Excuse me, no errors and 2 left on base. At the end of 3.5, it's Folsom Lake 2, Southwestern 1. This is the SportsNetUSA.net Softball Invitational. Claire Yanez, Isabella Zavala, and Michaela Pamplona are the 3 due up.
Don't forget basketball right around the corner here on SportsNetUSA.net. Cypress basketball. Yeah, it was ugly last night when they took on Fullerton College. Fullerton looked good. Cypress
Did not.
And so they're still in 2nd place, still behind the Hornets, still in a place to make the playoffs. But we've got more basketball coming up on sports@usa.net on Hard Knocks. Is that what it is? HBO? No. That's Ed has to say. We do their games too. Well, what do you give me the shake of the hand for?
Yeah, Last Chance U.
Last Chance U. I keep thinking it's Hard Knocks. Last Chance U. Ed brought it up earlier. Make sure that you watch the team that's on that because they're also on sports.usa.
East LA Huskies.
So
East LA Huskies and Huskies. Remember, COVID happened. We did the last playoff game right before the state finals when LA Valley beat San Diego City. That was the year that East LA was going to win the title and upset everybody. They were one of the top 10 teams, but they were going to upset everybody.
Since then,
they're still a quality team. One of the best in the state, top 5 in the state consistently, high and outside.
Let me go down here. Oh, look at this. All right. I love people that are educated and kind.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Young people can move. You can't get back up.
That's true. I thought she was going to reach over and help me up. I thought I'm in trouble. Thank you, Corey Neyland.
Because I wasn't.
Thank you, young lady.
Deep and gone. Way gone by Claire Yanez. That elicited a response from everybody. As Yanez went deep the first time this season. And that's not coming back. She hit that one to the softball field. Or excuse me, to the soccer field. So she is now 2 for 2 on the day.
And what's the best thing you can do if you give up a run? Go score a run.
Exactly. 3-1 is your score in the bottom of the 4th inning. 3 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for Folsom Lake, 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error for the Jaguars. That's Adriana Vasquez, the other Adriana Vasquez. I've seen switch hitting, bats right, throws left, but I've never seen switch jersey. No, I'm kidding. Vasquez delivers, Mendez. Mendez delivers on the outside, so there are 2.
Yeah.
That's in there for a strike. No outs. No balls, 1 strike. And again, go back to Yanez's home run. I mean, everybody knew that was hit.
But again, I'm going to bring up the fact that the ball flies so well out of here. That, Corey, sometimes you just get amazed when you see the home runs that are hit out of here. We had a few in the first game here on SportsNetUSA.net, as we'll get a new pitcher now in the game.
So Maddie Villascusa, right-handed thrower out of Steel Canyon High School. 5'4", wants a career in the medical field. And right now she steps in, standing 5'4". Bats left, throws right. Another freshman.
Number 1, Maddie Villascusa.
Maddie Villascusa is what they're saying her name is.
So Villascusa in the circle. I had more of an Italian pronunciation.
You did. I sort of liked it myself.
So Darren Robinson, third base coach for Folsom Lake. No outs in the bottom of the 4th. 1 across already on a home run, which was blasted by Yanez. No balls and 1 strike. And Mendez was laboring running the base paths, Mark. We'll have to ask if there was anything to do with her coming out now.
Yeah, well, you have to use that back leg to push off to get your speed.
And didn't you see Islas in the first game maybe have something with her back leg?
Yeah, she grabbed her leg too.
Maddie delivers a strike, so 1 ball and 2 strikes to Adriana Vasquez. Nubler pass Hurtado.
And here's real interesting, Corey, when I look at that, the latest that I've heard from the new way of training is you work out like you do. You go to the gym, and then you're supposed to stretch. And I'm thinking, That's the strangest thing I've ever heard, but that's the new attitude in workouts, that you stretch when you get done.
Pop to right field, Angie Allen under it. She makes the first out of this fourth inning.
But you look at a couple pitchers today here that pull up a little, and especially since for a pitcher, softball alone, but for a pitcher, your legs are so essential in the game of softball when you're in the circle.
Michaela Pamplona drills one in the center field, and she's on base for the first time today. Well, the first time this game.
So you look at these young women, and we've talked about them. If you're in the circle, Corey Neyland, you've got to have that get-out pitch. You've got to have that pitch that you can throw that you know you're going to get somebody out. And that's what makes the elite pitcher.
And lays it down foul. Nice bat handling by Wiley. Pitch was way upstairs, and she went up and got it, and still not popping it up, laid it down. I mean, it was over her head, and she was still able to drop that. One out. Runner at first base is Vasquez. Bottom four. Off speed at the letters. 0-2. Doing well, Coach. How about yourself? There you go. We got any extra headsets? We can get the coach. Still attempt by Vasquez. She's in there. So good throw down. Vasquez, her first steal of the season. Puts her in scoring position with one out.
I've always got extra headsets. There's the bag.
Ah, okay.
Both cameras. The bag. Easy up.
In the dirt, Vasquez, or excuse me, not Vasquez, Pamplona gets the steal. So the catcher is at second base with one out. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Wiley. Villa Escuella strikes out her first batter. 2 outs. Top of the order, Araceli Jaimes.
Batting, the shortstop, number 4, Araceli Jaimes.
Flew out to right, then flew out to center. Standing up in the box. Right-hander bounces one off the tip of her pinky. Or her pinky toe, I should say. Foul, 0-1. Pamplona stands at second. 3-1 is your score. 1 run across this inning on a towering shot from Yanez. 3 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for the Falcons. And Mark, I don't know if you and Ed noticed that since we've been talking about NorCal, SoCal, getting teams playing each other in this, what you call the preseason, there's been a number of NorCal, SoCal games yesterday and this weekend. This one's rolled in. Pamplona runs back to second. Yeah, Santiago Canyon and San Mateo played. San Mateo, and I think they're in the same Bakersfield tournament. Bakersfield, Mount Sac, and San Mateo also in it.
Yeah, I think they've learned from SportsNetUSA.net. Ned Ford.
Ball 4 advances. And we thought we were going to see Jaimes go all the way to second, maybe trying to force, and here they are now as Villa Escuella settles in the circle. So there are runners at first and third with 2 outs. Bottom of the fourth, 1 run across as Adriana Vasquez, who singled her last time at bat, comes up to the plate.
Now batting the second baseman, number 2, Adriana Vasquez.
Villa Esqueu delivers way outside, throwing down a second, cut off by Oseguera.
And Oseguera waits too long. She runs back at the bag. Corey, you need to get rid of the ball. You're not going to get the person out at second base. Give it to your third base person. They're the only person that can make the play on that person who broke too far on third base on a double, on a steal, and then a possible play at home.
In the dirt again, there goes Pamplona. She's going to score from third, tapping home plate with her left hand. And on the wild pitch, brings across the second run of the inning. So it is now 4-1 Folsom Lake. 2 runs on 2 hits thus far. So still 1 error, so no errors thus far.
Well, you don't ever call a wild pitch an error.
See, I've never understood that, but
Either of us.
because if everything else is an error, but that's okay. 4-1 is your score. Another over the head, and this time the backstop does its job, gets it back to the catcher. Jaimes couldn't advance.
Well, why is a pass ball not an error?
Don't ask me things.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Or an interview. Oh, when you have time. Okay.
We've got an extra set of headsets in there in the green bag too, Ed, if you want to be involved in the interview. Cody, she said she's going to sit down with us.
Vasquez takes the 4th pitch high. Bases are loaded. I was going to get off the air and let you guys talk. As Sydney Verlin steps up to the plate, who's 0 for 2. So, excuse me, not bases loaded. Runners on first and third. I'm just getting advanced ahead of myself, Mark.
I was just going to say that at my age, I need to save all the thunder I got.
So,
Now batting
4-1
number 6, Sydney
in the
Verlin.
bottom of the 4th inning. Folsom Lake is up. Southwestern huddling in the circle. Verlin popped up and struck out her 2 times at bat. This inning, on a recap, we've seen a towering shot by Yanez, and that was straight away center. Dimensions are 200 across. So straight away center, 200, and then she hit the soccer field, so that's another, I'm saying about 260. And play home, no. Jaimes scores. And with 2 outs, you got to go to first base. Or throw it and make the tag at second. As we're joined by head coach of the Cerritos Falcons, Cody Murray. Now, this is all you and Mark are going to talk. Okay? Because we've been wanting this for a while now. So I'm glad we have you on the air as Verlin stands in to Villa Esquella. That is high and inside. Coach, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for hosting this tournament for us.
Well, thank you for coming in and all the work you put into being able to stream this. I think it really helps our sport a lot. What your how do I say it? USA Sportnet.
SportsNetUSA.net.
Sportnet USA. Okay.
First thing, Cody, I've got to ask you, because I can remember last year when we did this and we were looking at your team and talking to Coach Musselman. It was We're a lot of bright new faces, a lot of different things. I look at this as sort of preseason. Corey says it's not in softball, so I'm going to ask you as a coach. As we get an error on the play and another run scores, throw back to second, not in time. So is this, would you say this is preseason, or is there such a thing like that in softball?
No, I would not say it's preseason. We played 10 games in the fall, and I would say that that's the, we kind of say at Cerritos, that's your freshman year. Your season is your sophomore year, and then your second year, and that puts you through your 4 seasons. And I think since all these games count, it's a huge deal. Folsom came out and played us extremely well. I don't think our pitching was what it needed to be, and we gave up a few things early on, and so it'll cost us down the road if we don't pick it up and do better as we move on.
Why does the ball fly so well here? I've done so many games here. It's just the ball seems to explode when it's hit solid. Why?
It's home or dome. It's the wind. I think the way the field is situated, but I bet there has been more home runs out of this yard than anyone in the entire state. It's crazy how the ball flies.
Oh, I'm always amazed when one is just smashed on as we get a play at third and the runner's out for the third out of the inning.
Good job of staying with that tag, Southwestern.
Yeah. The one thing I've got to say, and Ed brought it up as we come out here, we love doing games out here. Your coaching staff, everybody that works with you for softball, has the prettiest natural softball field that we at Mr. Ford and I have been around. Ed was talking about it today. He said, you can look at it, it's natural grass. There's no dings, there's no divots, there's no holes. And I said to Ed, the other thing is, too, it's level. I've walked too many softball fields where you go, am I going uphill?
Yeah.
I mean, is this just something that has been a natural thing for all of you here at Cypress, that you want people when they come here to Nancy Kelly Field to look at it and go, wow, what a great looking place?
Well, I know we take a lot of pride in it. I think we're very special at Cerritos College to have such support in our athletics. And then the third thing is, when you as a coaching staff take pride in the field, then facilities takes pride in it also. And our guy who is out here today, Bill Griffin, that guy, he acts like this is his backyard. And when you've got somebody who cares that much, it's a big difference of how the field can be maintained.
So, I know you've always been out here with your dad. He's back out here.
Yep.
I saw him this morning. I got here at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Right, before everybody else. Had to do some Fred, and I came back. I get out, first thing he says to me is, how's it going with a big... He looked like a little kid that was like, okay, it's Little League, first day, I'm ready to play. I'm so excited that you have your dad back out here with you. It must be a ball coming out here knowing he's here, because I know what last year was like when we talked about his health and how I know you wanted him to be on this field with you last year.
Yeah, I think it's really a miracle and God's will that he's even here. I would bet 95% of 86-year-olds who got COVID pneumonia and had to go into the hospital didn't make it out. And I think we all had that fear, my entire family. My mom did an amazing thing. She told my dad it makes me.
That's okay.
But to turn on his FaceTime on his phone. And he kept that on the whole time so our family could monitor what was going on since we couldn't go to the hospital. And I think that was the difference between an 86-year-old going in and having no support and going in and having the support so we could all go on and talk to him throughout the day. I think that was an amazing decision that my mom made that really helped. And he made it through, and then he had to do the hard work of building his body back up because he lost so much weight. And I just, I'm very fortunate to have parents who haven't been drinkers or smokers or, haven't had a lot of vices. So they can fight through a lot of stuff. And as far as my dad out here and me coaching with him, he's been with me every step of the way at Cerritos, and last year was different, him not being here until the very end. But he told me I did all right, so that was a compliment. It's about as far as he goes.
Real quick on this inning, pop out and a fly out by Mata and Oseguera. Harper with that single up the middle.
Yeah, she hit that ball well.
Yeah, she did. Nice stride. JoJo Beatty now up to the plate.
This season, a lot of new faces on your team.
Yeah.
A lot of new faces. A lot of freshmen last year, so I thought, oh, I'm going to see 9 people and say, hey, gang. But a lot of new faces.
Well, the amazing thing is that Rochelle Leduc at first, Miranda Diaz at short, Brooklyn Bedoya at third, all have their AA degrees and are done and should have transferred on and decided they're all, 2 out of the 3 are nursing students and decided to stay. Our second baseman, Alyssa Sotelo, transferred out and went to Cal State Fullerton for the fall. And then she's like, I miss it too much. Can I come back? And we were glad to have her back.
Naturally.
And so she's working her way with her bat. She's going to end up hitting pretty well this year, I think. So, yeah, I'm glad they all came back. I don't want to get in the way of their education, but it's kind of their taking a year off to finish up their softball career, and then it's to the books.
So when you look at this team that you've got 5 that came back. Ashley Capps is back in center field too, so she's out there, a little speed burner for you. You look at that, you got 5 players that came back and a bunch of new faces. Quick assessment of your team?
Well, Sam.
And Sam's back in the circle. I should have brought that up too.
Sam and Courtney, I think, will carry us in the circle. I think that our new kid, Rihanna, oh my gosh, Carranza, drop that name for a second. I think she's going to be all right, but she's going to have to handle tough situations a little bit better. But, it's a learning curve out here, and your expectations are high, or at least they are at Cerritos, and you feel that pressure, and then you get into the pressure cooker. So I think she's going to end up being pretty good for us. And then we have our lefty, who I think she'll do okay too. Maddie Guillen.
And there's strike 3 looking. Beatty goes down inside part of the plate at the knees, and that'll end 4.5. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on at the end of 4.5. It's 4-1, Folsom Lake.
Before I let you go here, one last question. I asked Ed Ford earlier because the rankings came out. Then I asked my partner Corey when he got here for the second game. You look at the beginning of the season rankings. Do you even take those into consideration as a coach, or do you just look at it and go, oh, okay, and sort of throw them by the wayside?
Yes. It's a bunch of coaches. The thing about community college is, if you notice, the teams that are all listed are all the teams that are always in the playoffs and always at state. It's the same group, and so people vote the same way every time. I mean, and it's a bunch of coaches who haven't seen anybody. I mean, I don't care who the voters are. We voted. Doesn't matter who the voters are. It's just hypothetical of what names you think stand out as strong softball teams. And you got Mount Sac there every year, so of course they're right where they were supposed to be, and Cypress, and So I think that I don't think there's much weight to it. There's nothing. It's not based on anything.
Thank you. We're going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We're going to, you know what we're going to do too, because Ed, if you could find out for me when we start doing your games, I said to Ed it'd be fun if we could mic you up when you're over here in the box. And Ed said he doesn't know if we're violating any rules doing that. If you could find that out for us, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay,
All
I'll
right.
do that.
Thank you.
That'd be easy to do that. Okay, thanks a lot, you guys, and thank you again for coming out today and setting up this whole tournament.
It's our pleasure. One of the best coaches in the United States, not just California, and a great educator, fun lady to talk softball with. She's a ball to have around. And Corey Neyland, can you imagine if we mic her up over at third base during the game while you and I and Ed are calling a game?
Let me put it this way. I'm not saying anything because already that would be the best part of the broadcast.
I think she sort of agreed with me on the rankings, right? Is that garbage?
You said a joke.
Oh, joke. I think she smiled at me when I brought him up to her. Glad to see her dad out here.
And he looks good.
He does look good. It's nice to have him back out here. I know he's an important partner of her life, and he has been there from step one in softball for her. So, to Cody, I wish her and Cerritos College, which we will be having here on SportsNetUSA.net this year. Ed Ford, Corey Neyland, myself, Albert Robles. Make sure you look for those games.
1 run, 6 hits, 2 errors for Southwestern. 6 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for Folsom Lake. They're up now with Emma Gayton, who's 1 for 2. Yanez is on deck, Isabella Zavala, and there's Gayton. That's a single, gets to the fence, could be a double. She rounds first on her way to second, and she slides in safely for 2.
So, Corey, this is what Folsom Lake did to Cerritos. They looked like nothing in the first inning. They looked like they might have trouble scoring. And then as soon as they opened up the vault, the money came floating out. And it is not discontinued. The only time they got shut out again is when Cody brought in her number 1 pitcher, who pitched the 6th and 7th inning to shut them out.
And Yanez, last time up, we're still waiting to get that ball back. And she is 2 for 2 today. And there's one to the other way, right field. Underneath is Angie Allen. Tagging at second is Gayton. Easily slides into third.
Okay, nothing for you guys? Okay. What do you want?
What's up?
Yeah.
Chips? Hot dog and chips? Okay, oh, sorry, you're on the line.
Oh, that's okay.
That's
You
okay.
can give them to him.
Yeah.
I'll go get the hot dog right now. What kind of chips do you want?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Those are good.
Yeah, I'll just leave them all. And then a Gatorade?
Oh, no. Gatorade.
Re-entering to bat number 20, Bella Zavala.
They don't sponsor us. You can't say their names.
I'm sorry.
Unless you're getting Ed a big check. Unless Ed Ford can say, I'll take it, just like the golfers do. It says Ed Ford.
I'm sorry. I'll take the red punch.
There you go.
Zavala
I'll take that color.
fouls it way back. So 0-1, 1 out at the bottom of the 5th inning. And Zavala, experience she brings to this squad. Winning ways for a young program to this Folsom Lake squad. And it's amazing. They're a team that's been ascending year after year. She flares one. Underneath is the shortstop, Beatty. Makes the catch for out number 2.
And I like that Beatty was aware that she had a runner at third and that there was only 1 out, because when she goes back to get it, she didn't nonchalant it. She said, I'm going to get it. I know that there's a woman at third base that could take off running on me. And so very good defense by this Southwestern team.
Michaela Pamplona, 1 for 2, scored a run, stole a base. active here in the second game of the SportsNetUSA.net Softball Invitational. First game, 7-2 Folsom Lake over Cerritos. This game here and one more coming up as Southwestern will be the home team against Orange Coast College. Atlanta goes high up the ladder and fouls it back. 2 outs, bottom 5. 1-1 is the count.
It's been a beautiful day all day. A little breeze comes in. Cloud cover just for an occasional, but it's perfect weather for softball, about 66, 67 degrees out here.
2 balls, 1 strike as that is in the dirt. In the circle, Maddie Villaescuela.
And of course, when you look at our poster out in center field, there's a picture of Corey Neyland at bat, me behind the plate, and Ed Ford monitoring both of us.
Ground ball foul down third base line. Count now 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs.
One of us is saying that was a ball. One of us is saying that's a strike, and it's Ed Ford saying, you guys would argue about anything, wouldn't you?
Yes, because you have never been right. Michaela Pamplona stands on the right batter's box. Of course, I've never been right.
That's true.
And she swings and miss foul tip. That is strikeout for out number 3. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. So at the end of 5 full, it is Folsom Lake 6, Southwestern 1. This is the SportsNetUSA.net Softball Invitational on SportsNetUSA.net.
Don't forget, basketball's not far away here on SportsNetUSA.net. Little Cypress, little East LA. We'll see what happens with all those teams involved with SportsNetUSA.net. We'll see if we get to do some of the playoff games. We will let you know. You can check our homepage. And then we've got softball and baseball coming up for you here on SportsNetUSA.net. Check the homepage for that, too, on what dates we will be broadcasting those games, be it Cypress and Cerritos College, all here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ed Ford, Albert Robles, Corey Neyland, the old guy, Gabby Neyland. Well, she's someplace. She's, I think she's down at the swap meet right now. She kept going. So we'll see what happens as this game goes on. But as for right now, Folsom Lake has been impressive for their 2 games in a row that they've had. They've put up a ton of runs. They've had adequate pitching. And remember the old adage in softball? Good pitching in the circle. We'd like to have great, but good pitching in the circle. Great defense and timely hitting. I'm not going to say good defense. I need great defense. I can't have an error on my softball team. But you said good pitching. Good pitching in the circle.
So you don't need a 1.5 or 0.1 earned run average.
Well, your definition of good and my definition of good are 2 different things. I look at standards. I look at standards.
You look at the standards. Well, we're going to have to take a look at those picks again. The standards as the season goes on in is Alyssa Garcia, the first base person, singled and struck out. Bella Hurtado on deck is 0 for 2, and then Madison Mendez, who's 2 for 2 with a single and an RBI double, batting third. In the circle, this is popped up to second base, Adriana Garcia. So Angelina Becerra gets the first batter to pop out.
And she popped out because you could see the swing of her bat. She was late on the swing. And so therefore she's behind. She catches it on the inward half of the barrel, and that pops up the ball over to right field.
Hurtado steps up to the plate. Right-hander. Flares one, straightaway center, just past the infield. And she's got her first hit of the game. Her third hit of the season yesterday against El Camino. She went 2 for 3, had an RBI.
Pitcher number 1, Maddie Villa-Souza.
That's the way I said it the first time.
That's what I thought you said.
So Maddie, left-handed batter. So no balls and 1 strike. One out.
See, when I invite you to invitationals, you're treated like you're someone.
This is Ed's invitational. Thank you, Ed.
Wow. You ought to get done taking down the equipment about 9:30 tonight.
I got to go find Gabby.
You'll have 20 minutes between games.
Maddie against Bacara. Outside corner strike. Hit that plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes, 1 out.
And Corey, when you watch her bat, she comes up like your typical slap hitter. She takes the crossover step coming to the plate, which is what a slap hitter does. They can either slap it down the third baseline, in her case, being a lefty, or pull the ball with her.
And she slaps one down here, foul. So stays alive at 1 and 2.
So you will see that with slap hitters normally do not take that traditional step or that traditional slide step. They will take the crossover step when they slap the ball.
Coach Michael Grossmark has something a little bit in common with us. He's a PA announcer, professional PA around San Diego. Point Loma, he does a lot. San Diego State as well. Bagheera delivers. Bounces one, Gaten's up, firing to first for the out.
And I like that Gaten, who had more than enough time, she makes the play. She throws the ball a little errant on the play, and when she throws a little errant, she says to her first base person as she leads her into the runner, which could cause injury, that's on me. I like the fact that an infielder will take responsibility for what they do when they make an action on the infield.
And this will bring up Devin Christick.
Orange Coast up next against this Southwestern team. Little OEC here in the SportsNetUSA.net Invitational.
Christek way late on an off-speed pitch from Bacara, singled twice as she steps in for her third attempt. So we got the OEC, the South Coast Conference with Cerritos, Pacific Coast Athletic Conference with Southwestern, and the Big 8 with Folsom Lake. So good mix here at this Invitational.
Catcher has a little bite taken out of her on that pitch, on the foul ball, takes a little walk. Umpire does the courtesy cleaning of the plate, which is a nice thing for umpires to do. Wants to look back at the catcher, which he does, and says, "Are you ready?" And that's the thing, then you get ready to rock and roll one more time.
Gaten in the third, Verlin even at first. High delivery, ball number 2 to Devin. Actually, it's ball number 1 to Devin. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 6th inning. And softball, if you didn't know, they go 7. Unless. So 7 innings in the game of softball. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. I think everybody, Mark, has a pep in their step today. I mean, everybody knows it's softball season. It's just one of those times that you really get excited to broadcast.
Oh yeah, it's game time.
Foul tip.
And you know why I like softball, because I think the young ladies play the game more fundamentally sound with a ball and a bat than their counterparts, the males. I think the males side saddle, they cheat on plays. They play it fundamentally sound, and they make less errors and less mental mistakes than the guys do with that other game with a ball and a bat.
Outside.
I mean, any Dodger fan can tell you that. Spend $45 gazillion on a team that can't win a World Series because of all the mental mistakes made by infielders. Did you win the World Series? That's past. I'm going to pull a Corey Neyland on you. That's past. Did you win it last year?
3 balls, 2 strikes. Delivery is low, and that's ball number 4. So Devin Christick reaches base 3 times. 2 singles and a walk. And top of the order, Danny Sandez, the center fielder, struck out, and flew out.
It's nice making a Dodger fan cry.
Now here's how you make him cry. Astros won the World Series.
Astros. That's what I call my softball team, the Astros.
Swing and a miss. And speaking of championships, San Mateo got their first softball championship last year in the CCCAA.
Folsom Lake in the playoffs last year.
And they lost. They actually beat Fresno City in the first round, which was kind of an upset. But again, they beat them in the first round, then lost to Butte. Line, and there, Gayton knocks it down, throws it from her knees, safe. Her title all the way around from second scores. And advancing to third base is Devin Christick.
All right, Candyman, I'll let you call that one.
That's a run, making it 6-2.
Hit or an error?
That's a hit.
Okay.
That's definitely a hit because it wasn't right at her. She had to dive, and she was throwing from her knees. So I'm going to give that sharply hit line drive to Danny Sandez. Plus, she was 0 for 3. So good things happen.
Albert Robles agreed with you. Albert said it was a rocket that was hit, so that's why he would have scored it a hit.
But not an RBI. See, I keep some of the candy. So 1 run across, 2 hits this inning. And this one's popped up to right field. Underneath it is Yanez. She makes the catch for the 3rd out. But not before 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 left on base. So at the end of 5.5, it is 6-2 Folsom Lake over Southwestern.
Of course, I'm already looking at softball. Corey said, hey, it sounds like fun. And I'm going, yeah, let's start looking at who's, what, and where. Some of the top players are looking at this year for the next level that these ladies want to go to. Tiara Jennings over at Oklahoma, Kelly Maxwell at Oklahoma State, Addison Barnard at Wichita State. I like her. She's a great player. Grace Lyons at Oklahoma at shortstop. She's got a glove and she's got an arm. She can do well. Bailey Klinger at Washington. She plays third base. She's somebody that can play well. Sydney Sanders at Oklahoma. And then at number 7, Ryan Osborne loves this woman, Megan Ferramo.
And Bailey Klingler?
Uh-huh.
She's real good. She was in a conversation for Player of the Year if Washington had been better and Oklahoma wasn't so stout. But if Oklahoma, she played really, really well. And Megan Ferramo, we've liked her ever since we saw her in the tournament as a senior.
And the running joke with Ryan was at number 10 is Montana Fouts. I went, How long has she been playing D1 softball?
It's that COVID year, Mark.
And he said only 5 years. But, Corey, you know it's because of club ball and everything else. I think I've been watching Montana Fouts play since she was 8 years old.
Yeah, she's one of the better players in the country.
You know, so people to look at. Jaden Coleman over at Oklahoma. She's a heck of an outfielder. So is Skylar Wallace, a short at Florida. I watched her play. And then Sydney McKinney, I got to see her play in high school. Kid's incredible. She's at Wichita State.
There's only one UCLA player in the top 20.
Yep. Just a fun group of players. We'll see what happens.
Itzel Montoya will pinch hit for Folsom Lake. She's a sophomore out of Kimball High School in Tracy. And we'll get to that defensive switches in just a moment. At third base is Hurtado, Beatty at short, Oseguera second, Garcia at first base.
Number 12, Itzel Montoya.
Maddie Villasquea is still in the circle with Cassidy Harper catching for her. Montoya last year hit .333. 404 on base percentage with a .394 slugging percentage last year.
This is where Folsom Lake needs to finish the game. And when we say that, you've got a 4-run lead, Corey. It's the bottom of the 6th. Southwestern has one more try. You need to look at them and say the try won't matter. We're going to get a couple runs and take you out of the game right now.
2 balls and 1 strike. Danica Munoz now in left field for the Jaguars. Sandez still in center. Allen still in right. 6-2 is your score, top of the 6th inning. Montoya takes a strike at the ankles. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They were thinking she had a high ankle sprain, and her ankles came up a little bit more.
We took some looks at those on instant replay to see what the umpires were doing behind the plate.
And that is strike 3.
So when the strike zone all of a sudden becomes expanded from a 8-inch television screen to a 48-inch television screen, it gets a little more difficult when you're a batter to see what you've got to do. But blue has not been the controversy of today's game. So give it to the umpires out here that when we don't have to talk about them, they have done a heck of a job calling a game.
Yeah, that's an interesting call because the catcher came out of her crouch to make that catch, and glove came up. Donna Jo Dalton will be pinch hitting out of Granite Bay High School here in the bottom of the 6th inning for Araceli Jaimes. Donna Jo, that's an old school softball name right there.
Donna Jo?
Yeah, Donna Jo Dalton.
She needs dual pigtails for that.
First pitch high, 1-0. 6 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. 2 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for Folsom Lake and Southwestern respectively.
Wind's picking up, flags are standing straight.
Outside 2-0.
Thought it was interesting with Cody saying that she has seen more home runs in this ballpark than any other ballpark she's ever been at. That's a lady that played professional softball.
Well, in California Community College, yeah. And there's 3 balls and no strikes, all high with 1 out. But yeah, it carries well. And the wind always seems to be going out here, no matter what time of day, no matter if we're in the wintertime or later on in the spring, it's always blowing out. And no follow through by Maddie, and walks her on 4 straight pitches.
I think the umpire's cousin was watching sports at USA.net and just texted him and said, hey, they're criticizing your strike zone. So he just said, okay, they're all balls.
Right about now, I'm not really criticizing. I'm happy with the expansion We're here at the bottom of the 6th. Southwestern has out-hit the Falcons 8-7. You know what I miss? I miss these. When I used to coach baseball, there's a steal going, and Dalton is easily into second base. We're going to give her the steal, the stolen base. So we had to do hand signals and remember them, and that was not good for me. I like these play sheets and play calls they got. Out of play.
Oh, no, that one I could have caught.
1 ball and 2 strikes. We can catch all of them. I mean, it's just a matter of where we're catching them. Are we catching them in our hands or our face? You're catching everyone. In the gut, it's still a catch.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hot shot, same spot.
You would have stopped that one. You'd have put your foot out.
No, I got a suitcase.
Oh, okay. There we go. I got Albert's little LA Dodger, LA Ram. I'm sorry. That's our Ram, isn't it? Oh, jeez. From bad to worse.
At least he can say that team is defending champs. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. There's one lined up. It's all in the reflexes.
I have now seen 4 of those today. What a catch.
As Maddie and nonchalantly turns to second base. I mean, she's like, I got it. Don't worry. Were you thinking I didn't have that? As she turns to second to look back the runner.
You'd have known if you didn't have that one.
Comes up high to Sydney Verlin. Popped out, struck out, walked in her bat attempts.
Boy, if you ever think you have hand-eye coordination, be in the circle and let somebody rip a line drive back at you. Then you'll discover if you have hand-eye coordination.
She pops this one up, shallow center, out of the reach. And all the way scoring is Donna Joe from second. And that's going to be an RBI single for Verlin.
Corey, I've got to give the coaching staff so much credit at third base. You have a third base coach that watched the flight of that ball and knew it was not going to get caught and said to his runner, keep running, keep running, keep running. And she scores because he understood that nobody was going to catch it and nobody was going to make a play on picking it up and throwing it. Excellent third base coaching on that.
Oh, and Albert says, plus there's 2 out, you're still running. But again, you see a lot of coaches at that time hold up at third, and you wait for that next batter. He was going no matter if there was 2, 1.
Yeah, he was center.
So it is a single. She gets the RBI. He advances to second on the throw in. So 7-2. Bottom of the 6th inning, 1 across on that 1 hit.
And Folsom does what Folsom needed to do to win the game.
Reginato. And it's good to see her at bat after that spill she took.
In left center.
That collision, actually, with the fence.
Yep.
And she grabbed her lower back, but she looks to be fine now. Playing a good left field, scored a run, reached on an error twice. Off-speed pitch from Villa Esquella. Down the heart for a strike. Both teams now sit at 8 hits apiece. She's out of Casa Robles High School. Casa Robles High School. I put an S on
Casa
that.
Robles?
Casa Robles.
Oh, okay.
5'7" sophomore. From Fair Oaks. Takes high. Don't forget one more game on this triple header. Southwestern will be the home team against OCC. The Pirates come in and looking to get their first victory of the season.
And here's the big difference in this game. Folsom Lake, everybody's got little magic arm cards on. They're all glancing at them during the game, looking at the bench. Then you go to old school Southwestern, where they're just out there playing. They don't have to glance at anything. Oh, let's see. It's a 3. I'm supposed to be standing 8 feet to my right.
At the knees, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Two different styles of coaching.
As long as they both work, they're all good. And you like the variety of the game as well. We like to see the old school, the new school. This one's laced in the left field. Munoz tracks it. Rifles it into home. Keeping the runner at third base is
Nice.
Berlin.
Nice throw by the lefty out in left field. It's always sort of funny. Used to be that they'd look at you if you're a left-hander and say, right field, first base. You know, now we've seen the versatility of softball where you don't have to be that right-handed player to be in certain positions.
There's it is, Yanez into the gap in right center field. In comes 1, in comes 2, and in comes 3. Or excuse me, 2. Oh, that should be 3, right? So that's 10-2. 8 runs is the run rule.
That's a run rule. That's a run rule, yeah.
And Yanez walks it off.
That's why I said 3 to you, because when you backed it up one, I went, oh,
Yeah, no,
man.
I thought I saw 3 runs come through. So the final score is going to be Folsom Lake gets their second victory of the SportsNetUSA.net Invitational, 10-2 victors over Southwestern. And so we're going to take a moment, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned for more SportsNetUSA.net Softball Invitational on SportsNetUSA.net.